This is Ted, a Sprocker Spaniel who's now been missing for nearly 3 months. In December, Lucinda's father, Mike, was walking Ted in this South London park when he was stolen in broad daylight.
As he's put Ted on the lead, another man's come up behind him, punched him in the lower back, shoved him to the ground and then stood on his hand so that he had to let go of the lead. And then both men ran away laughing with Ted on his lead, and obviously my dad was left on the floor after the attack.
Ted was brought into the family a few years ago to help Mike, who at the time was struggling with his mental health.
To be honest, we didn't realise just how amazing Ted would be for him. He just completely changed my dad. He said to me before the attack had happened that he finally felt like he was feeling his own self again, and Ted had basically been the reason for that. To be honest, he's everything. He is my dad's world. We've said, you know, it's not just Ted's life in the balance, it is my dad's as well.
Mike and Lucinda are not alone in experiencing such a sense of loss. The pandemic has increased demand for dogs across the country, so prices have gone up and criminals are taking advantage, either selling the dog to a new owner or holding it for ransom. One charity says dog theft soared by 170% from 2019 to 2020, and owners know all too well about the new risks of their daily walks.
And that's why we walk together now, because we don't want to walk on our own.
And Emma, you were here on the day that Ted was stolen?
I didn't know anything about it until I saw it on Facebook. And shush! I was in Bedington Park about 5 weeks ago, and there was a man in the bushes whistling to try and catch her.
Oh, really?
So that's why I've had to get this alarm now.
So you got an alarm now?
Yeah. It's just because you just never know, it can just happen so quickly.
Where's your bushes?
No matter the precautions now being taken, thieves are becoming more organised and dangerous in their approach. Just ask former amateur boxer James Cousins in Llanelli in South Wales.
As we got to here, there were two males coming from behind me, heading towards this way, and Rosie was walking off the lead. And as we got a little bit closer, one of them scooped her up, and I just naively assumed that it was to say hello, because people are generally quite friendly around here. And his idea when I got a little bit closer, he said, if you attempt to get your dog back off me, I'm going to stab you.
And how did you respond?
When I got in range, I punched him, which sent him to the floor. And that's when his other friend came in and started trying to fight me from behind as well. But luckily I was managed to get up, get Rosie, and made our getaway.
How was sort of Rosie dealing with the whole situation?
She actually was very, very oblivious to it all. When I was on top of the chap, she was licking his face, so she wasn't too traumatised by it all.
Not every dog owner can take on criminals intent on stealing their pets to make some money. And one talking point that comes up again and again when speaking to victims is how the police treat dog napping as material theft, putting their pets in the same category as a laptop or a bike. Now, Home Secretary Priti Patel has promised to look at tougher measures, with some in the police backing a review of the law too.
With regards to the police looking at it as just property, yeah, I kind of acknowledge that maybe we need to review that. I don't want a viewer to think that we still don't care. Absolutely, the theft of a dog is still important.
With the pandemic puppy craze quadrupling the price of some breeds, many fear dog theft will remain an attractive proposition to criminals. But no matter how much monetary value you place on a dog, you can't put a price on your best friend.
We've always been very worried about what would happen to my dad if anything happened to Ted. And now that Ted's been taken away from him, you know, he holds himself responsible, which of course he's not. It's going to be a number of years before he gets over this.